content. So yes, welcome back to our third episode of Chronicles of Community Builders. What makes this episode really special is that one of the global community builders we have with us who's nailing the ecosystem happens to be a friend. Welcome, Tina. Welcome to community, folks. We are really happy to have you here. And yes, namaste. I love that you tried that. Yes. If I have to go over your description, I think how I would put it is that ever heard of a community moderator or a community manager whose comments got blocked because she reached the limit of comments on Facebook group? That's the level of interaction Tina has with members, by the way, folks. And it's just not happened once, it's happened multiple times, and I've witnessed it. Ever gone to a community where you are a contributor and you speak to any person and they know who the contributor is? So that's Tina, somebody who's gone above and beyond to help people clear community management certification. So that's how I have seen her, and that's description how I would like to put it there, apart from all the beautiful things she's accomplished and done for people in this industry. That I'll let her talk. So starting off, the first question that I have for you, which is the introduction question, is that Tina, we once were on a call and you mentioned that you wanted to work towards creating educational resources for community builders. Can you walk us through this journey of community building that has led to this goal?
Yeah, sure. For starters, thank you for having me. I'm sorry, I'm going to mute myself every now and then because I'm still a bit sick, as you can probably hear from my voice. So I don't want to have you hearing my coughing. And yes, I reached the limits. Not sure if it's a good thing or not, but I'm still hoping it's a bug and I didn't reach the limit. But yeah, I started my community back in 2014, and I quite fast I realized that community management, especially in that time, it was quite lonely, since we didn't have what we have now. We have amazing networks all over different platforms where community managers can come together, inspire each other, and learn from each other. And back then we didn't have that. I mean, come on, we didn't even have planned posts. I remember myself having alarms every now and then on my phone, even in the middle of the night, just to wake up and publish a post, because we didn't have that back then. But yeah, and then after Facebook changed its mission, which probably all of you know, it was 2017 when Facebook changed the mission. And quite fast after that, they started a program called Community Leaders Circle. And we had one here in Finland, and obviously I quite fast became part of it. And we had a lot of events, and actually I met Logan and Kemi there, or heard them. I didn't meet them, but heard them the first time there. And yeah, and then after that, the project shut down. I think it went for a year or 1.5. I joined CMX and I found the Power Admin community. And I just love the atmosphere in those communities, because you genuinely, community managers come together with all the small acts they do in their communities, and that gets multiplied with all the millions of communities that we have. So I just love how all the communities, they make the world a better place just by bringing the people together. And it's not a competition between community managers. I mean, I used to be in business to business for 15 years, and what I used to hate the most at work was that my closest colleagues also were my competitors. And in this community management field, it's not like that at all. We're like one big happy family. And I think that you can feel in every community where community managers come together. So that inspired me. Here in Finland, the community management industry is still starting off. I think every month we have news about how community managers in their cities, they have these local groups where people come together in the cities, and how tired the admins are because it's hard to admin a group like that. So obviously they need tools, but they don't have the place yet to be there. So that's how it became my goal, that I want to do that here, since I got so much out of it when I found the groups where I am a member in. I think one of my favorite communities ever is the certified community. I just love the team there, and all the members too.
Sorry, is there a question that we have? I heard.
No, I think that was background noise.
Okay. I think, yeah, so he was trying to connect to audio. No worries. Tina, that's so beautifully put. Now that I recall, all the other communities that I've been part of, like somewhere down the line, yes, the other members who were there, they were also my competitors. And here it feels like, we have a genuine space, we can come and talk, and it feels like a family. And nobody's like, technically nobody's competing against each other, because you're all from like different domains. You are catering to communities from different domains, and that's a beautiful observation out there. We have a question from Christine for you. That's technically a follow-up question to this one. Is that how long did it actually take you to get where you are today?
I think community management is a journey. I'm far from there. I don't think any one of us is gonna ever say, that's it, I'm done, I'm ready. Because the world keeps getting different. Social media keeps having new features. So we're evolving all the time. But yeah, I started back in 2014, and here we are. I have to even check the calendar every now and then. Yeah, 21, not 2020. I'm still in March 2020. So
yeah, that's relatable. I've just like 2020 just went like a cross. I feel like we didn't even realize that it was a year. Like I still feel like
imagine it's March again in 3 months.
Yeah. I still feel like we're stepping to 2021, but no worries. I hope that 2020 is good for all of us. I hope that travel opens up again, and we can go to each other's countries, and we can visit, and we can learn around community building and other things as well. So yeah, I think that's very well put, that because the whole aspect of it is that, you have to like sort of bring people together, and there's so many different kinds of people that exist. You never really become an expert in the field. Like there's always like so much more to learn. There was something I was actually listening to a podcast today by David Spinks, and that was around party scientists. That was with the party scientists, and I had never heard of a profession like this existing before. And the role is basically that, you use frameworks for singing, dancing, and laughing to make your community feel more welcomed and feel more warm. And even workspaces are adapting that today. So look at the different professions that's coming out in our genre. So yeah, moving on. I just mentioned, right, Tina, that in your introduction that you're someone who's crossed the comment limit, and that was something I observed during the Facebook Community Summit. And on that note, we also have Melanie here, who's done that. So yes, I think this is a question that I would want, I would want both of you to take part in. That is that you are proactive in multiple communities and not just one. And usually for us, it's like, you're contributing to your own community, and then you're like, okay, tired. Let's or for the others, you have like time limit, or you will like contribute once in a while. But your contributions have been consistent for multiple communities. Have you ever experienced a burnout?
No, not that I know. No, not that I know of. But I do. Self-care is so important, and for those of you who don't know, I have a family here. So I have 2 kids here. We have a really active dog, and I even have my own company. So even though I'm really active online, I'm also really active offline. So it balances all the time. But sometimes, even like, for instance, during the FCS, it's more or less like putting a puzzle together. So you just put the offline pieces there with the online pieces and balance it out. But yeah, I mean, I take a moment for myself each morning. I take a moment for myself each evening. In the summertime, I take even more offline time, since I'm out there enjoying the summer. In the winter, I'm mostly more online because nobody wants to go outside by minus 30 degrees. But
minus 30 degrees?
yes. But yeah, I mean, when you're having fun with what you do, it doesn't feel like like you're working, but more like you're spending time with people that you really care about. So I think that also helps, that it's truly a passion to stay in contact with people.
If you have to like describe your day, like what does it look like?
My day? Well, I wake up around, normally like during the weekdays, I wake up around 6:30, and then I just have basically the first hour just for myself, with the entire family sleeping if possible. And yeah, I have my coffee. I'm usually drawing or doing something, or sketching or writing something, whatever feels right for that morning. It might be music, whatever. Then I get the kids ready for school. I drop them off at school. Then we go for a short walk with the dog. And then I start my day here at the home office. So basically this corner right here. And yeah, then I work first. I have my main job, which is my own community. And I'm also working in another project where we are teaching the people working in our organization how to use social media. So I might have a couple of webinars or live audio rooms or Zooms or whatever, usually a couple of meetings. Then I'm active in my group again. Then I jump on the Power Admin group. My partner always picks up the kids, so I continue working at that point. Then I take a break and start the homework with the kids. This week we did prepare ourselves for a math exam, so I got the free pass from that, since they usually like to ask their dad rather than me when it comes to math, which is possibly a good idea. And then I continue working either for something I left off on the Power Admin group, or then my own community. And then around, I don't know, 7, 8, I finish off my day and I go for a long walk, or jump into the jacuzzi, or whatever feels right on that day, and just, go through the day with myself and then get ready for the next day.
That's a lot of things in one day. So here the follow-up question that I have is, one of the challenges that there is, okay, you have your own community, and then you have like another community which is not necessarily in this 2 domains. So do you not find the challenge and shift of thinking? For example, that, okay, like if you're talking in a community of community builders, then you would have like a different content that you're talking around. And then if you're talking around, say a pets community, then the conversations are different.
Yeah, well, I think I got used to it. I mean, my community is a community for moms, and here we speak Finnish and Swedish, because they are both official languages in Finland. And I work at the Power Admin community in the German-speaking region, so that I do in German. So I feel it's like the other half of me that starts working. Like the Finnish side is taking care of the mom community, and then the German side is it. I mean, for the first couple of months, it was chaos. I don't even remember how tired I was at the beginning, since suddenly I had 3 to 4 languages a day, which I had to juggle every there and but now it became a daily routine. So now it feels like it always was this way. So yeah, you might get an email from me in a wrong language if I'm having a day that is fully planned. But that has
That's the
happened,
most that
and
can
I think that
happen.
will happen again. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I like to avoid saying I'm busy. I just have a lot to do, and then you have to do things quicker, and then you don't stress out that much when you don't think of it
I think
of being busy.
another thing that I can take back from this entire conversation just now is that if you're passionate about something, you're going to make time for it. So, there are like no
Yes.
excuses that, I'm too occupied, or I have my full-time job, so I can't come back and give time to my community, which is a very important message for people who are building their own communities, or if you're, say, volunteering for a community. Because a lot of times this happens that your full time is completely different, and then you have to come back and you have to take care of your community. And then there are days, or a lot of times this happens, that you are completely packed up with work, and then you're not able to give time, and then you come up with this, that okay, right now I think I want to pause this because I have a full-time job. So yes, taking inspiration from you, Tina, here.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to try out. I mean, you might think that something is your passion and then it feels like it isn't, but then, just trust the next chapter. You're the author of your own story. So it's okay to walk away from something and say, hey, you know what? This wasn't my thing, and I'm going to start something else. So, in order to find whatever is really your passion, you need to make the wrong choices as well.
It's true. That's very, very beautifully put. One follow-up question here. You manage a community of moms as well, like on the side. So what's been like your fondest memory from that community?
That's a really hard question. I think as the most of you might know, when you have a community, you constantly have new favorite memories, because there's a lot of great things that happen in communities. And when it's your own community or a community you've been volunteering in for a long time, it's important to you. So every single good thing that happens in them is one of your favorite things. But for the last couple things that are my favorite, in my mom community, we had this mom who had 2 babies that died, and now she managed to have one that didn't, and she's a happy mom right now. So I don't know if I don't remember when I was crying happy tears as much as when she sent me the picture of her newborn baby, just to let me know that she has a baby in her arms. Also, one of my favorite things are every time I see Hal online in the certification learning group. That's like, I just love it, because it feels forever ago when we started the dream team, me, Leanne, and Hal. And now seeing Hal doing those lives like every now and then, I just love it. It warms my heart every time, and I just have to click listen every time. So yeah, Hal is probably one of the only persons I listen to instead of music during my workday.
He's here. He's listening to this right now. that's I think that's so beautifully put, and the kind of support that people have, even though I think you and Hal probably haven't met ever, but that kind of bonding that you actually actually got through a community. So that's inspiring, and that was possible again because as members who wanted to go beyond, you came together for a purpose, and you gave back to that community, and somewhere down the line you built friendships. So I think that tells a lot about how, if communities can focus on community led initiatives where members also start taking up initiatives where they collaborate together, you find deeper and better friendships in the community.
Yes, totally agree. And it also shows you why it's important to be present in your own community, because if you can have friendships in communities for community managers, for your members, that's how your community is like. So it's really important to just be present and help them thrive and grow in your communities.
Wow. I think I'm just going to take a pause here, and I just want to go through the comments because there's like so many chat messages here. So yes. Okay, Smriti, no worries. We are glad that you're actually treating this as a podcast and you're listening to us. You listening and you being there and on the chat, that means a lot. Vishal, happy to have you. Melanie saying that yes, Tina does go above and beyond to engage and make the journey for everyone who touches her life. That's very true. And yes, then I think yes, Melanie's again written, yeah, the amount of things Tina could do if she had spare time in her hand. I think despite even like not having the spare time, like she still does so many things. And I remember we were having a conversation and I was just like, this many hours I'm working and I don't know if I want to take this up. And then she mentions I'm working 70 hours a week currently. And I was just like, okay, did I just say this at the right place? Am I really doing
but
anything?
I need to tell you that it's not something you should try to do. Working 70 hours a week is not a good thing, but if it's for a short period of time, you can do it. I did it just because I'm way too curious, and yeah.
Glad to hear. Yes, but again, like I think the fact that you can actually push yourself to that limit, that shows that is gratifying, because at the end of the day that tells you how much you can push yourself, and that's something we should be aware of. Yes, just to see if you can, right? Moving on, the next question that we have for you, Tina, that's coming back to a different aspect of community, because I remember that we spoke about your community and you mentioned that you got funded. Want to understand that how can someone actually convince key stakeholders of any organization to start or invest a community around a product? This is from Jay Elango.
That's a really great question. I think it depends a lot on the organization, but the best tip I can give you is just, don't tell them why, but show them why. Because showing them why your community should be part of that organization is so much stronger than, just words. Invite them to your community, show them what you do, show them the power that you have in your communities, and that will convince them without even having to say anything else.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, that really actually helps. That makes sense. Because a lot of times we'll go and we'll tell them that, okay, this is what you will get, this is what you will not get, and then it's like, okay, what is it in there in paper that I can see and that has already happened? So that does make sense. People here, I know that here we have people like Vineet, we have
I think Hal is trying to speak.
Navez is also here. Yes, Hal, do you have a question or you want to add something?
Yeah, if it's okay. I think I'm totally for exactly what Tina said, and I'll add a little side note to it. And that is that I don't have to sell something to a brand or a client. if they see it, you don't have to sell it. They already need it. They already want it. They're already bought into the concept of it. So, a real quick example is when I got approached by my first client. He said, Hal, we're on the internet and we're all over Facebook, and we have a Facebook page and Instagram and blah, 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 and it's not doing anything for us. Can you go look at it? Sure. So what I did was I went and looked at their stuff. I went to go see them. What are they talking about, right? So I went to their Facebook page. I went to their Facebook group. I went to their Instagram. I went to their YouTube channel, and they hadn't put up a post in like 3 months or 2 months on their page. They were wondering why nobody was contacting them. And what I did was I video recorded. Some of you have heard this story. I video recorded a tour of their exposure online. Not pointing out the problems, but pointing out where they could improve. Post regularly, give interesting content, stay focused on your brand, make sure everything you do is aligned with what your intention is. And I was about halfway through a 20 or 30-minute presentation at their office. I had recorded this, audio and video. I was clicking the link and going around. I screen recorded the tour. And I was talking to them about what they should do, what they could do. And about halfway through the presentation, he broke out his checkbook and put it on the table, at which point I knew I had my very first client.
Wow.
And the goal is to show him that this one was a local painting company. It could be a nonprofit. It could be anything. It could be a large brand. It doesn't matter. The concept is the same, that they don't need to have to worry about doing their branding online. If they give me the brand and the tools and the content that they need, I can do it for them. That's my job. I don't need to sell paint. That guy needs to sell paint. He doesn't need to worry about posting on his profile and on his page. That's my job. And when we clearly defined the roles and we came to an agreement as to exactly what he could possibly expect from it, he was totally on board, because he knew, oh, you're right. I have nobody to post every day with content. That's me. I have nobody that's going to create beautiful Canva slides for my company. I'm not a graphic person. That's me, and I took a whole bunch of stuff that he thought he could handle internally, and I just took it off his plate. And then like 60 days later, I was able to come back and prove the results by the insights on the community. So reaching out and saying, this is what you can be doing. I don't say this is what you're not doing. It needs to be a positive solution-based approach. This is how we are able to represent you on the brand. This is what we'd like to do, and this is what it would look like. So, and yeah, it does take about 80 hours a week of Tina to do all that successfully.
Yes, I think that's a good perspective to look at it, and that does make sense. I think there's a question from Navya. She's DM'd it. She's saying that she's on mute because of some technical issues. She's asked that if you're not selling it, how do you tell them you're doing a good work, especially when you're trying to approach your first client at least?
Well, I mean, when I like, first of all, my point of view is the NGO point of view. But when we started working together with all these organizations, I think we're one of the first communities in Finland who do work together with organizations this closely. And well, we have the moms in our community, and they are really active, and we're helping the moms. The organizations that we work with are organizations who support parenthood, or they support kids or the youth. So we already have the people that they want to reach. So we need their information and all the skills that they have, so we can help our members. And they need the people that we have in our community, and someone who is going to be in touch with all those people, and do the social media kind of side of it, since they are really good in what they do. But trust me, social media is not necessarily their strongest field, and it doesn't need to be either. But and I think with brands it works in a very similar way. If you can work together when both of you have something that the other part needs. And as Hal said, don't do it in the negative way. Don't show them what they can't do, but show them how you can complete them.
That's powerful. Piper here has added that she's working with a client who doesn't have executive buy-in. It's difficult. The executive wants to see how the community is meeting business goals, but the community is less than 6 months old. Yes, I think Piper, Abhilash has shared a resource for you that could help. And on that note, it's difficult because like just speaking from experience, what I have seen is it takes some time. Like you can't expect your community to start accomplishing business goals in the first 6 months. In that case, then you were not even like that was not even your community was you didn't have the right purpose to build the community. So it's give, and then you have one take. So that's something that you probably want to speak on. Tina, if you want to add anything on that part as well. So moving on, the question that we have next is that what are some of the essentials, according to you, Tina, that one should remember when they are starting a community from scratch? This question was from Amit.
Well, this is as some of you might know, this is one of my favorite themes. I could go on and on and on about this, but I think when you're starting a new community, the most important thing to remember is why you started the community and what the community is for. Especially in the beginning, you might get overexcited about all the possibilities you could do. And if you forget your goals, it's going to be harder later on to adjust it. So you don't have to beat all the records at once. Just, do what you came to do. Like I said earlier, you're the author. Trust the next chapter. So write it down as you want it to be, and then just stick to it and remember why you're doing it. That would probably be one of the most important things I've learned.
If I could interject, if you don't mind, there's a couple foundational things that I try to remember, and it's a part of the certification program where we talk about developing a community, and it's identifying the platform that your community needs to be on. Is it going to be a Facebook page? Is it going to be a group? Is it going to be on Instagram? Are we going to have a WhatsApp account that people can talk in groups? And it all depends on the focus and mission of the community. If it's a visually based community that has lots of pictures and videos and images, you're probably going to want to at least start off with an Instagram account and then expand it to a page or a group, remembering that a group is designed to interact member to member with content that's curated by the admin team or the host. And then the page is more of an informational kind of thing where you're putting out information to your followers. And, keeping that in mind is kind of important. You can always expand it, but the where you start is really important. The other part of it is building the strategy for the community itself. How are we going to attack this? Who's going to do what? Where are we getting our graphics and content from? Who's going to be in charge of getting vetting membership or adding followers, putting a team together that's going to handle each part of that, and then setting up the community guidelines of what we're going to do. Well, we don't want, we're a nonprofit that supports out-of-work bakeries or whatever. It's a silly idea, right? We don't want somebody coming in and putting up a question about their broken automotive problem. Creating guidelines that obviously follow our standards for the platform, but also the guidelines that we're setting up for the brand. Because remember, the brand is not necessarily going to know, or does he even need to know, those guardrails that we need to set up in the community environment. They're not thinking about that. That's our job. You know, he may say, yeah, let everybody in, but no, you can't let everybody in because they're not going to be focused on the mission.
Yeah, and this is actually exactly what I meant with keep in mind why, and keep in mind your mission. Because I mean, I've witnessed it so many times that you start your own community from scratch, a new community, and then you start having all the visions for your community, and you start your Facebook group, and you start the Facebook page, and then you open up a home page, and then you open up a Twitter account and a Snapchat account, and then you have an Instagram, and then you get tired of it in the first 3 weeks just because you get overexcited. You can expand it when you have someone to take care of it, but don't do it all at once. Just keep in mind what you came to do and start with the basics, and then move forward. If you need to hear more tips about this, Hal has an amazing collection of bakery examples. So watch them in the learning group.
Wow. On this, I actually have a follow-up question, Tina, on the mission part. Do you think that as with a community, they say, right, like, you know, with a community, your members actually grow. So as your members grow, do you feel that the mission statement also evolves for a community, or should it evolve?
I think that's, again, it depends so much on the community. My mom community, the mission is quite simple. It's to connect, represent, and empower all the moms in our region. So even if they grow, there are still going to be moms who need support, who need to be connected, and who need to be empowered, because that's how it is. So our mission is not necessarily going to change. But then again, in a different, yeah, the you know, the kind of, I don't think the entire mission will change, but parts of it might change depending on what kind of community it is. Once again, it's a really, really tough question, but I like this question. I'm going to use this one in my own trainings once.
Happy to know. We have a question from Navya here, because you also work part-time as a regional moderator for the Padman group. She's asking that what is the toughest part of your job as a community manager? Does it become making sure that everyone's aligned on the same page with the community, or is it maintaining that brand value, or what is it?
Well, I think for me, the hardest part is that I'm not going to respond to everything and to everyone, but at some point I have to make the choices to say, hey, you know what? I had 2 hours for this one, and now I'm moving forward. So for me, the hardest part is saying no every now and then and balancing the time. So because if I don't balance, I'm going to end up working 24 hours a day, which obviously is not a solution at all. So this for me is the hardest part.
How many people are able to relate to this part of like the difficulty in saying no? Because I think as community builders, we generally tend to be so empathetic, and so people, you know, we want to be the givers, right? Like we've always been the givers, so it's very difficult for us to say no. So I just really want to see in the chat that how many people also agree that this becomes one of the difficult part of their jobs. I think this is one of the highlights for today, that as a, like, you know, the toughest job of being a community manager is the ability to say no. Navya is here vouching that, yeah, I'm there. Vineet's here. Akash is also.
Remember that when you set up your community guidelines as a part of your mission statement, you have something to lean back on that tells you a set of guidelines or rules that you as the moderator or admin team can follow, including when you should say no, or what's not appropriate for the community. Now, over time, that might change. As the mission statement that includes all of that over time may evolve depending on the goal of the brand that you're representing, or you may start out as a community of moms and realize that 80% of your moms are looking for jobs, and you may end up changing your mission slightly, or maybe creating a sister kind of community to support the newer part of the guidelines that you say, wait, what are we doing here? Everybody's talking about babysitting our children when 80% of our membership, the moms, need jobs. So how can we serve them by maybe enhancing or slightly changing our mission statement and our community guidelines to meet our community's need? Because we have to always remember that a community is a living, breathing entity. It's a thing. It's like a person. You don't just set it up and leave it alone. It'll fall on its face at that point.
Get published? Because I thought just a little while ago it was most of the people in the hospitals were unvaccinated.
Are we muting?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was me. I'm so sorry.
I was just trying to figure out. No worries. It's okay. It's completely fine. Yes, that's very powerful when you put it that way, that a community it's your child. It's living, like you can't just abandon it out there. So yes, no worries, Piper. It's okay. We understand. We are all attending the session from home and we know like this happens. It's fine. Melanie's written that no is a complete sentence and needs no explanation. Very well put. Moving on, right? So because so this is one of my personal favorite questions, and this is something I'm very excited to ask. You interact with community builders from the German region. So can you give us a little can you give us insights and visibility around what the state of communities look like in those regions? What do people talk about? What matter to them? And where are we in those regions in terms of community building?
Well, I think as we are now in December, Christmas is a huge topic over here, and how different communities celebrate the Christmas time. What do they do? The end of the year is always a time of giving back. So topics like what kind of impact are your communities doing is a really huge thing. And I think, like, the state of the world right now is obviously a huge theme also in the DACH region, as it is in the rest of the world as well. We're all juggling with the new world where we have two truths, and it's really hard for community managers in many ways. You can't plan anything offline. When you can, then it might get canceled again. You're tired, but the members are tired as well, and how to boost that entire feeling. So I think right now, or for the past 2 years already, we've had kind of the same kind of themes all around the world that combine us. And I like to think that even though it's a very challenging time, it's also a time that throws us even more together, just because we are all in this together.
Wow, that's right. That's true. I think we shouldn't forget what people have gone through in the last couple of months and these 2 years, and even like sort of like moving beyond that, like in India, for example, I mean, it was during the second wave when things were going out of control. It was the community builders, probably people in their own homes were suffering. They were like still going above and beyond to help their members. They were helping their members find the hospital leads, cylinder references, so many more things. Just like showing that, okay, like we are here for our people, and this is the toughest times and we have to be there no matter how broken we are inside. So that I relate to. And thank you for sharing that, Tina. Moving on, the next question that we have, that's like addressing the elephant in the room. I see that there are a couple of other certified community managers as well, like Hal's also here, Melanie is here, Piper is here, Vineet's here. So what would be your top 3 tips for somebody who's planning to take up the Facebook community management certification? And I think we can walk through everyone for this question. I've not heard people talk for some time and I can just see names. So I can't wait to make everyone talk.
Yeah, I mean, I love the certification, as many of you might already know. But the very first thing to do before you do anything else is obviously to join the learning group, because that's the place to be. I mean, you got Hal there, you got Kara there, you got all the mentors there. There's no reason at all why you shouldn't join that community. You got all the info there. That's like where you can lean on the members whenever you have a question, because you're gonna have questions when you get ready for the certification. There's gonna be a moment where you think to yourself, like, I'm not gonna get this. This is totally wrong, and I think they didn't get this right, and I know I'm right. I mean, I think we all heard Hal say, you don't know what you don't know. I even made it as a picture so he can post it everywhere. But it's so true. And that's what keeps me there as well, because I keep learning like new stuff, not only from the certification, but from the topics discussed in the learning group. So first, join that community. Second, take time to yourself. Like, take time to really go through all the material. Don't think that the certification is your goal, but that learning everything in the study guide is your goal. That's your goal, learning it. It's not something you're gonna have to learn sorry, and remember by heart. It's something that you need to understand how it works. So take time for it. And third tip is just trust the process. It might take you 1 time to pass the exam. It might take you 3 times. You're still a great community manager. So be gracious to yourself and just, keep trying and keep having fun in the process. Like, keep having fun in learning. Yeah, I think those are my 3 tips. I think Hal has a lot on this topic as well, but those are the most important things for me.
I think we can walk through all the community people who have given the certification around what their tips would be, so that we can also like compile this. I've been talking to people and they were sharing that they feel quite overwhelmed to take the certification. I know people here, I will not be taking names, who have been like delaying the certification for a while now, but that's wonderfully put, that even if you don't clear the certification, that doesn't mean that you're not a good community builder. You do amazing work, and your members are literally there to tell you that how amazing you make their lives. So that's there, that's your reward, that's basically the validation that you need, that you are a good community builder. So yes, thank you for putting that across, Tina. That's actually my favorite tip here, that we are often scared of failing, but we forget that we are supposed to be having fun in the process too. So yes. Meanwhile, what we can do is, I think we are done with the questions that we had for Tina. And Tina, thank you so much for sharing your insights. They're very helpful. And yes, thank you for that namaste. That's so cute, honestly. We here, folks, we were actually like trying to teach, because there's so many insights that we have gotten from Tina today. We were trying to teach her 1 or 2 Hindi words that she could take back and that she could use. back in Finland. So just want to ask community folks that what would be one word that you would want Tina to remember in Hindi that she can go back and use later on? And also for Hal and others who have joined us from different regions. So can you unmute yourselves and share that? Vishal's here, Vineet is there, Abhilash, Navya, Akash. So the one word that we actually like talked about, that Tina, do you remember the word or should we repeat it again?
I remember the beginning of it, but I
Yes.
don't remember the rest of it. So please do repeat, and I'm gonna write it down this time.
So the first word that's there for you, it's jugaad. It
Jugaad,
basically,
yeah.
yes. It basically means that when you don't have the right thing, you arrange for things that can make it happen. For example, if you don't have a table, so you put like a couple of books where you can put your laptop, and then the camera level is at your eye level. So yes, that's what a jugaad.
I love that one. I'm gonna use that one. Let's see if they get it here in Finland.
Great. Vineet, do you have anything that you want to share? Yeah, Melanie's saying that she loves that one. Akash, do you want to add something? Do you want to add another word?
So Tina, I have a friend based out of Finland. She runs her sustainable startup called Moi Namaste, where they are actually empowering the artisans in India and selling the merchandise out there in Finland. So I believe you guys should meet up and you will definitely gel together and learn a lot of Hindi. I mean, I'm not going to tell you 1-2 words. You'll figure out the entire thing. And trust me, her husband is a Finnish guy. So that's the thing, what it is.
Sounds really interesting. I'm gonna ask you more on that.
Thanks, Vineet. I think you can share the connect on chat. Yes, coming back. Akash, do you want to add something?
Nothing comes to mind.
Come on. I mean, I thought like we had more like cool people here as community builders. Vishal, yes, you raised your hand.
Yes, well, I was trying to think about a few words. I mean, it's surprising that I know Hindi and I'm not able to come up with a couple of words to suggest. But there's one thing that you might be interested in. It's called langar. It's basically the Sikh people. They have langar in gurdwaras where they distribute food entirely free of cost for everyone who is coming by. And you can go there anytime, have great amazing food, volunteer even to prepare the food and serve food. So that's like a whole community out there. So langar is that's the non-tech explanation of community that I give to people.
Wow, I didn't know that word
Well, yeah.
either because it's
Oh yeah, well
beautiful.
I was in Punjab for a long time, so I've known that.
I might just
Super.
visit Punjab for this food.
I can't wait. I can't wait to go back there.
Wow, thank you, Vishal. Arun is also here. Arun, do you want to like give a word to Tina in Hindi that she can use for Finland?
Hey, you already took my word. That was jugaad.
That's every community builder's word.
That was a good one as well. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Always.
uh,
I think there's one word from Abhilash as well. It's called suffer, which means journey. And Arun, if you have any other word.
no, jugaad is the only word I'm getting.
No worries.
To use it
Thanks.
elsewhere, yeah. For that
Thank you.
category, I think jugaad is the only word in my
Thank
mind.
you.
And like,
Thank you for sharing. There was one word from Avni that I remember that could help. It's called Samaj Seva. Often at times in India, community building is referred to as Samaj Seva, which basically means serving the society. And in the literal sense, it's doing voluntary or non-profit work. So that's something that you can actually say that that's again one of the words. Coming back, I think we had a couple of other folks as well who are certified community managers. So just want to because we have almost reached the end of the session, and it's a Zoom call, and it doesn't look good when people are on a Zoom call and they're not speaking. It's different for a Facebook Live or for an Instagram Live. So do you want to share around your experiences or around your tips for the Facebook Community Management exam? Because I know
I think you need to just make them speak, because if you ask them, do you want to speak? Melanie is going to be the only one raising her hand like this. But if you make them speak, they're going to have awesome tips.
Fine. I think I'm just going to call out names in that case. That actually gives me very teacher vibes. So I don't like doing that. So I'm like, okay, this is your free will, but I also want you to speak. So yes, whom should we start with? I think Vineet. I just saw Vineet speaking.
Sangeeta, it is called creating engagement, asking people to speak. Right?
I think it's beyond that as well. It's
yeah, exactly. So you start from there, and then and then you find your inner circle to make sure that things are moving forward.
Right. I know what you hinted, but yes. Do you want to share something around the certification?
So, I mean, thanks to CMX, I got a voucher. I cleared off my certification, and the process was very interesting and overwhelming for a fact that since I have already been in the community management space till that time, it was more of mapping the theory to the in practice stuff which I was doing. So once I cleared the certification exam, I went ahead and wrote down 2 blog posts, and Sangeeta helped me edit it and post it there. And I believe that blog post is actually helping folks out. And it's been what now, 11 months since it's up, 11 months since it's up, and it's doing its wonders. So that's what I would mean. It's a lovely exam. You just have to focus on it and just go through it. And trust me, I was having butterflies, hiccups, how the exam will be and everything. So Smriti said, Vineet, you'll clear it. Don't worry about it. So that's my support system to get through the FCCM certification.
Thanks, Vineet. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Vishal, you want to add something? I see you raising your hand.
Yes, well, for context, I am a very young community builder and recently got into the corporate sector of community management as well. So for the certification was, I got to know about it because my manager pushed me that you need to do something about this, check this out, there's something interesting. And I don't know if this is going to help, but most of us, if we are individual community builders, we already have tried out most of the things. Most of the things that we plan, you will find very relatable when you go through the entire certification course and the different modules that there are. What this certification really did for me was put like a proper structure to all the plans and ideas I had in mind that I wanted to execute in my community, and give it a proper path that, okay, this is what you do first, and then this is what you do next, and then from there you go somewhere else, right? So this, although I did sort of knew how to build my community, but this became like a catalyst of putting my thoughts into proper structure. So I think that's why everyone should do the certifications. And also, yeah, I did find a coupon which helped really. But yeah, if you're not able to find it, it's worth it.
Happy to know, Vishal. Vishal, just a quick question. Where are you working currently, and how long have you been in this space, and what domain are you in?
Well, I'm currently working at CodeChef as a community manager for CodeChef colleges.
Nice.
But I have been in community since the past 2 years, I would say. So previously, I have worked with organizations like GitHub and Mozilla, and running and building their communities. That was volunteer work.
Happy to know. Happy to know. Thank you, Vishal. It's good to have people who actually take this up voluntarily, and then they come and join the industry. I think it's like either of two stories where you were voluntarily started contributing to communities voluntarily, and then you ended up as with it as a profession, or you are into a different profession and then for some reason you ended up accidentally landing up in this industry. So
Yeah.
that's what I've seen, like a common pattern happening here. And then
That's
you
true.
have people like Akash who are like, I want to do communities for my life, so this is where I want to be in. I'm sure that this is where I'm
Sangeeta, you
meant
also
for.
fall in the similar category, right?
Yes, but I started with volunteering work. But yeah, my motivation to start for that voluntary work was because I wanted to land up in the field. But yeah, agreed. Melanie, we have not heard you speaking. Do you want to add something around the certification as well?
I'd love to add something about the certification. I'm one of those people who didn't know what community management was until I was offered an opportunity to do the certification. And it's completely unlocked my life in the most incredible ways. For those of you who are looking at doing it, just do the damn test. Certification is not about the test. It's about what you get to on the other side of the test. There's amazing support in the groups that Facebook has set up for us, in the certified group and in the learning group. The kind of mentorship we're getting there, I have to compare to the kind of mentorship I received at a business incubator more than a decade ago. This is top quality mentorship that business incubators normally charge a lot of money for. And we've got direct access to it. We can tap into it and use it to self-teach whenever we want to. So for me, the most powerful thing has not been the certification. It's been the networks and the groups that I've unlocked on the other side of that. That are incredible. Just do the damn exam. And also remember, it's not like school. So for me, I had a lot of anxiety for it because when I was at school, if I failed my end exam, I failed the year. With this exam, you can move it. You can do it as many times as you want to. I moved it 3 times because I had a blue screen of death on my computer just before my exam date. So also know that you're in control of moving it. That for me was a big thing. Like, just move it, and don't move it a week ahead if you know you've got a challenge. Give yourself space, move it a month ahead, so you have time to sort out your challenge, and then go back in and do it. But it's totally worth it. It is so worth it. Do it.
Wow, thanks, Melanie, and totally, hearts on that part, that it's not about just the certificate, but the people who are there waiting for you on that other side of the corner. They're such wonderful people. Like, we have some of them here, like Tina, Hal, Melanie, Piper, Vineet, Vishal. I met these people because of the certification group, so always grateful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. On that note, Hal, we've had so many wonderful stories from your experience. Thank you for sharing those in between. I think there were lots of things that I take back, especially that one part that hit me, that the community is a living thing. It's your baby technically. So do you want to add something on this? Because Tina, you and Leanne, you have worked together to help so many people clear that course.
Yes. First off, I want to let everybody know that in the learning group, which is an open community, and I put a link in the chat, this coming Tuesday, December 7th at 2:15 p.m., I will be going live in an audio room with Piper to talk about the certification process and her experience and learning through it, and also what she's gotten to do with it on the other side after she's certified on the exam. So tune in the certified group Tuesday, December 7th at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time, and you'll hear her and I discussing the whole certification process and how she went through it and so forth. Yeah, I think the most important thing to learn about, to talk about when it comes to the certification learning group and the certified group after it, is that it's not a you don't have to memorize anything. I grew up taking exams. Okay, if I remember that 2 + 2 is 4, I'll be okay. That's not what this course teaches you. It teaches you the concepts behind situations so that you can take the certification out into any community and apply it to that particular situation, because there's concepts on how to professionally manage a community, and that's what we teach you. So the learning process is interactive. It's live, just like we are here today. We're also doing audio rooms, 60-second study sessions now. The learning material is there where you can put it in, you can absorb it at your own pace, and we are there to support you and get you over the finish line. And then the sky is the limit. We have people that have found clients that are paying them to do their community management now, representing brands. It's, I like that, Piper. I'll remind you. We have people that are building very successful businesses because of this certification. We have them that they professionalized the management of their own community, because this thing is so diverse that you can apply it to anything when it comes to community management. So I encourage you to check out the group, talk to Tina, talk to Piper, talk to Akash, talk to Melanie, talk to Sanjita. They are all on the other side, and they are certified community managers in that invitation-only group, which is an amazing place to be, to network, bring problems and questions, talk about success stories. It's an amazing, amazing process. So thanks for letting me share all that. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Hal. That's there. I think we have reached almost towards the end of the session. Piper, I would love to hear from you, but I think you're doing an audio room, so we will all be tuning into that in the learning group. So yes, I think we have 12 minutes past the actual time. Thank you so much, Tina, for today. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Melanie, for sharing your experiences. And it's wonderful to have everyone here. Vishal, glad that you could join in for your first Community Folks meetup. We hope to see you for the future sessions as well. And we hope that this session helped. And thank you, Tina, for sharing your story again. And I know it's been a while that we have been speaking. So just a quick reminder to everyone, because we talk so much, something that I have started giving myself as reminders to drink water. So take your breaks, drink water, and we've got this. We are here for each other, and yeah, we have a whole community of community builders helping you out there. So for any questions that you have related to your with your journeys, any struggles that you have, feel free to share it in the group, and there's a whole tribe waiting to help you there. So yes, just wanted to put it across. And yes, hoping that we'll see you in our next meetup. And that's about today. So yes, thank you everyone for joining in. Bye bye.
Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.